welcome to the Money Talks podcast. I'm Andrea Heng. Good to see you again. So for many people, the goal is to get a high income and then retire early. That's the goal and that's the hope, right? But there are some others who, despite their high salaries, find themselves working 5, maybe even 10 years longer than they had initially intended or planned. There's a chance that they could be making some financial missteps. So how do you avoid making these mistakes? We're going to get some tips now from a financial advisor. He is Jo Ong, and he actually wrote a book about this. So I'm going to dig through this with him. Hi, Jo.
Hi, Andrea.
Hi. Okay, so before we get into it, when you say high earner, what exactly do you mean? Can you give me a salary range? How many people actually earn this kind of salary range?
Right. So in the global standards, we are looking at about, 250 to 500,000 USD a year.
Okay.
But in Singapore, it's a bit more fluid. So typically it's around $10,000 to $15,000 per month. And what we look at here is more of the life stage that they are at. So we are normally referring to 10 to 15%, top 10 to 15% of the population at their age group.
Okay. So when you say 250,000 US dollars a year in income, how much of that is salary and how much of that is earnings through other means?
So typically what we look at here is inclusive of their salaries, that's inclusive of their investment earnings or even their rental income.
Right.
Everything add up together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's in earnings in totality.
Yes.
Okay. Good to know. So in your book, you explain this idea of the Singapore success trap. And I guess I'm laughing a little bit because somehow I kind of get it, but maybe you are better positioned to explain this clearer to us. So what do you mean by Singapore success trap? What is the Singapore success trap?
Well, the Singapore success trap is where high-income professionals, they create the appearance of success,
Okay.
but not the substance of wealth.
Right. So
Yeah.
when they create this image of success, what do you mean? Like they are wearing fancy schmancy clothes, they are driving expensive cars, they live in a big house. Is that what you mean?
Kind of.
Okay.
As their income rises, people tends to also upgrade their lifestyle, the vacation, the homes, and often or not for their kids' education, going to expensive tuition or even enrichment class. And these upgrades tend to erode away the income increases or increment.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So why is it that the high income earners tend to fall into this trap so easily, more easily than other people sometimes?
I do see two factors here.
Okay.
One of it is psychological.
Okay.
High income it gives you a barrier of a feeling of security. So they tend to be complacent. That will causes them to overspend. Number two, I feel that it might be the societal expectation of them and
Right.
also from their friends and peers. They tend to hang out with the group that earns around the same income. So they might compare, which school do your kids go to.
Right.
the
So it's
enrichment
precious.
class.
It's a lot of pressure
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
way. So let's look at some of the mistakes, the big mistakes that you identify as being made by some of these high income earners. Because the point is, why is it that you can earn so much income, but you're still not wealthy? You're still not big on savings. You just don't have enough to retire, right? So one of the big mistakes that you identified is the just save more fallacy.
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, explain to me, what do you mean by the just save more fallacy?
This is something that I do see a lot in my clients as well.
Okay.
They're actually very big saver.
Okay.
They save a lot in cash. They feel that they can just outsave in that sense, but
Okay.
without goal in mind.
Oh, so just squirrel and
Just
squirrel
save,
and
just
squirrel
save,
away.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
So they do not begin with an end in mind. So they are not sure whether is the saving enough. They just keep saving. I mean, if you are okay to save and keep saving, and you can still eventually hit your goal, I
Yeah.
mean, that's good for you.
Yeah.
But sometimes I can say, hey, if you were just to let your money work a little bit harder, you can actually get to your retirement goal 5 years earlier.
Okay. So it's reframing that savings in mind.
Yes. And most often than not, I think a lot of these high income earners do not wish to work for the rest of their life. They hope to spend more time with their children.
Yeah.
Another thing that you mentioned is, why do they have so much savings and not do anything about it?
Yeah.
I will feel that because most of these people that I meet, they are extremely busy people.
Okay.
They're very busy with their
So
work.
in my head, my initial thought was, oh, they fear, they're not aware, or they have a fear maybe of what to do with that money, because sometimes their parents tell them, just put it under your pillow and it'll be fine, right?
That can be a reason, but
Right.
I think the main reason that I feel is they are so busy with their work and their life that they just don't have time to go and look at it.
Wow. So
Yeah.
really it becomes almost like a paradox, right?
Yeah.
You work this hard to get this salary, but
Yeah.
yet you're too busy to make the right plans with that money.
Yes.
So what else should they do with that money outside of just putting it in a savings account?
I think having cash is still very important.
Sure.
I'll take a step back in the sense that, you need to have your reserve. The reason why I mean the standard is 3 to 6 months of emergency cash. But I often tell my clients that depends on your lifestyle, your
Okay.
occupation.
Okay.
If your occupation is secured, it's very stable, you do not need to have so much emergency cash as someone like, say, maybe an investment banker. Sometimes their jobs can be quite volatile.
Yeah.
So you probably need to save up quite a bit of emergency cash. Then second to that is you need to make sure that not a single point of failure can wipe you out. Example, what if I fall sick?
Yeah.
Do I have to use my reserve that I built over the years to take care of myself when I fall sick?
Yeah.
Then we look at how to grow the money, right? So your question is what can they do? I would say, put into anything that is diversified, that is stable, that can get to where you want. The end goal is very important, which is why getting the numbers right is so important. Like, let's say, for example, most people will say investment equals to crypto, investment equals to buying stocks and shares.
Correct.
But let's say, based on your end goal and the amount of money that you are saving at this point in time, you just need to, say, get a return of 5 to 6% per annual return.
Okay.
If you look at 5 to 6%, do I really need to take on buying individual stock risks or buying crypto risks?
Right.
Actually, you can do it in a very sustainable and structured way
Right.
to get there. Yeah.
Right. So really being comfortable with or having a comfortable portfolio, as long as you make sure that your emergency fund is sorted, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to put forward this thing that was presented to me recently by a friend of mine. And he was saying, if you invest in a low risk ETF that allows for liquidity or bonds that allow you to sort of make withdrawals or any kind, it offers liquidity basically, right? Technically, if you put your savings in there or a big chunk of money in there and it grows, you can consider that cash savings as well, purely because it's liquid. What do you think about that?
That's a very good question. I wouldn't say that putting into anything liquid is okay for emergency cash. Putting into crypto is also liquid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So putting the emergency cash into ETF, it has to depend on what kind of ETF we're looking at here.
Sure.
There's a wide range of ETF that's in the market. Some are more volatile, some are safer. Okay, example here, maybe if I would put inside a cash fund,
Right.
a instrument that behaves like a your fixed deposit,
Sure. Okay. Yes.
then I would say yes, very safe. You can park your emergency cash or even your reserve into this kind of instrument to earn higher returns than what you commonly earn in the savings account,
Okay.
right? But I wouldn't just use liquidity as one factor
Right.
to decide where I put my emergency cash.
Okay.
So when I say emergency cash, doesn't mean that it has to be in the bank.
Yeah.
It can be into instruments that can give you liquidity.
Okay.
And of course, the risk has to be very managed because it can't be a case where when an emergency arises, but the market is down.
Yeah.
I'm losing like 10 to 20%
Yeah.
of my emergency cash here.
Correct.
It doesn't sound right. Yeah.
Right. So you have to, basically, emergency cash has to be protected. Whatever you put it has to be in a protected
Yes.
way. Okay, no, thank you for that. I have clarity over this now. Okay, so this other mistake that you brought up in your book, the fragmented portfolio problem, you describe it as a pattern of multiple financial advisors and products with zero coordination. Something I'm laughing at as well, because I won't call myself a victim, but I've been through this as well, because you inherit something from your parents. Your parents sign something for you. That's one financial advisor. And then when you go into the working world, you meet people, you make friends. One of those friends becomes your personal financial advisor as well, right?
Yeah.
But why is this risky? Why is having a fragmented portfolio problem such a big risk?
I would just put it that way. Normally, high income earners, you tends to attract a lot of attention from bankers and even insurance agents.
Like bees to honey.
Right?
Right.
And most of these people just want to recommend something that, in their own rights, they deem best for the customer.
Sure.
But this approach is not from a top-down approach, I would say. Meaning, usually the recommendation don't take into consideration what is your current situation is, or even what is your overall end goals are. And the most important factor is most of these recommendations may not even take into consideration what you already have. So I might recommend you a product that I feel that is very good for you, for your stage of life right now, but you may have already owned 3 to 4 of the same one.
Right. Correct. Yes.
So that's a very big problem here. We are facing duplicated investments into the same sector.
Okay. So how can I tell if my portfolio is fragmented? Basically, I'm asking, how do I make sure that I don't end up in the same situation that I did when I explained to you that, I found out like years later that I have another plan that I could have gotten out of earlier or something like that was overlapping, right? So how, right now, if I were to take a look at my portfolio, how do I know that it's fragmented right now?
So the first step is it can be easily overcome by asking one very simple question. So I'll ask you that, Andrea, when you look at this plan that you have in your portfolio, do you know why do you even buy it?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
And let's say if they'll say that, I just want to grow my money. Very common, right?
Right.
Do you know how this can get you to your goal? How does this fit into your end goal that you told me that you want to retire, say 55? And say,
Question mark,
you get a
question mark.
silence, right?
Yeah.
So these two simple questions, you'll give me have a feel that, whether it's a portfolio properly planned out, or is it just more like a piecemeal kind of approach?
Right,
Yeah.
right. So basically, we don't want to go for bare minimum, right? Like we shouldn't be going for bare minimum. We need to optimize our finances and what we buy with that
Yes,
money.
unless you don't mind working till old age and not knowing that if you are there.
Yeah, and even if you want to work into old age, it shouldn't be to service bills and plans,
Yes,
right? It should
yes.
be to continue building wealth that you can tap on later on,
Yeah.
right? Okay, there's this other thing that you brought up that I thought was interesting, the DIY dilemma. Now, I have questions here because previously we did an episode about using AI, like AI chatbots to plan finances. And I think a lot of people out there with robo-advisors also, right? People are just preferring to do things on their own, right? And I think this became especially prevalent during COVID. People were stuck at home. They became more educated. There was more information out there about how to make your own investments, what mistakes to avoid. So there's so much information out there. And one could very easily DIY your portfolio. Do you agree or disagree with DIYing your own portfolio?
You're putting me in the spot.
I am indeed.
I do not disagree in a DIY approach towards investing. In fact, I often encourage my clients that if you can do it yourself, that would be great.
Okay.
But my job is to let you know what are some of the potential pitfalls that to look out for as a do-it-yourself investor.
Right.
So if you're aware and you are navigating this whole process correctly, I'm very happy for you. I'll just be your advisor to look out for you.
Right.
But if you're not, then then you will face a lot of issues going forward. Yeah.
Okay, so if that's the case, let's talk about that, the DIY dilemma, right? What are the common mistakes that people make when they do DIY their portfolios?
Okay, so when we look at DIY here, DIY tools often focus on portfolios.
Right.
They do not take into consideration of what you already have, how much CPF do you have, do you have any dependents that is depending on you. Put in a nutshell, your entire family, your whole individual situation. We are looking at a very narrow approach here. So how do I, let's say, invest this 100,000 the best manner in the lowest cost, most efficient way?
Right.
It's not wrong, but I think as a human, we don't operate in such a silo manner,
Yeah.
such a narrow approach.
So someone looking to do a DIY portfolio needs to make sure that you cover every single expense, every single outflow, basically, right, of your capital before you even think about what you have left over, and then create a portfolio from there.
Yeah.
Okay, so for someone starting out then, if they've already gotten that covered, I know how much I'm giving in terms of support to my children, my wife, my parents, my elderly parents, my monthly bills, investments, etc. I've sorted all that out, and I'm trying to set up a DIY portfolio. What's the first thing I should do?
If you want to start a DIY portfolio after sorting everything out, I think one of the main criteria is to make sure that to find out what's your timeline.
Okay,
Time
yes.
horizon is extremely important when it comes to investing. So I have one very interesting story to share.
Yes, please.
It's a client of mine.
Okay.
He has been doing DIY investing for maybe a couple of years.
Okay.
So when I met him, he has done about a couple of years.
All right.
So he's investing into like equity-based markets, and on paper it looks alright.
Okay.
But he told me that money that he has set aside is for his BTO purchase in 2 years' time.
Okay. So he has a time horizon.
2 years.
Okay.
Then I say, well, you are investing 100% into equities and you need the money in 2 years' time. Are you confident that in 2 years' time when you need the money, the market is up and positive, or it can be down by negative 20-30%?
Yes.
So that got him really thinking. So he's still a DIY investor till today.
Okay.
But he went to rebalance his portfolio to something of a lower risk so that, the volatility is being reduced.
So time horizon is the first thing you need to ask yourself as well. Okay. It's great that you brought up all these other nuances as well, because when we had that conversation with our guest about AI investing or using AI to plan out your investment, he did say, a chatbot, unless you are very meticulous, a chatbot won't ask certain questions that a financial advisor would ask. So great, glad that you brought that up. This thing called the high income blind spot. And from our conversation today, it feels like there are a lot of blind spots that high income earners do tend to have. Now, this particular one, the assumption that a large salary guarantees comfortable retirement. I will raise my hand. I'm one of these people. I'm not a high income earner necessarily, but the moment I started getting increments in my salary, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm comfortable now. I feel safe. I can lead a certain lifestyle, and okay, I'll save this much at every single month, right? So, what examples have you observed that illustrate how dangerous this kind of thinking can be?
Well, high salary is an opportunity, but it's not a guarantee. Two common issues that I see is lifestyle inflation, like you mentioned, right? When you get increment.
Lifestyle inflation, I like that.
Yeah, you just want to live a better life, which is not wrong.
You don't want to take the MRT anymore, you just want to grab to work or grab home, the MRT too far. I have some extra money, I can do it.
But just to be clear, my stance is actually I do encourage my clients to go and live a better lifestyle.
Sure.
But are you letting your money work hard for you in the meantime? Sometimes when we do that, we just focus on the spending, but not really on the making sure that the money grows as well. So with lifestyle inflation, you realize that your disposable income or the net savings that you have over the years may not increase over time. So that's something that we need to be very wary about.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing as long as you make sure that the money is working hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do we make sure that money is working hard efficiently? Again, time horizon, knowing your goals. I keep repeating the same thing.
Yeah.
But you see, it's actually very simple.
It is. It's a recurring theme, and it really should be that simple, right? And I think people become, like you say, complacent
Yeah.
when lifestyle inflation takes
Yeah.
over. So one of the biggest concerns I imagine some high income earners have is that, looking at how the economy is doing right now, it's not great. A lot of uncertainty, even in the US, right?
Yes.
Especially in the US. What's considered high salary today may not be considered high salary tomorrow, in the near future, in a few years. It may not even be enough, right?
That's
so
right.
there's lifestyle inflation, there's actual inflation, and there's just general I would like to call it uncertainty inflation.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for people who have this concern?
This is a very legit and valid concerns among my clients as well. I will ask them this question. If today you got retrenched, and how confident are you to get to a new job after retrenchment, 50% or even the same kind of income that you're earning right now? I just met one that says that I will get less than half for sure.
Wow. That's a reality, Yeah.
So with that, often than not, when I ask that question, they tend to be very ready to hear my advice.
Okay.
So, making sure that what if that happens? How possible, how likely is that going to happen for you?
Yeah.
So I just met a client that works in the oil and gas industry.
Okay.
He told me that in the next 5 years, very likely.
Wow.
That because the company is going through some restructuring,
Sure.
he sees his friends and colleagues just got let go.
Yeah.
The next one's coming in the next 5 years. So he sees that at his age, he's around late 40s.
Okay.
So he feels that there's a real chance of that happening, and if that happens, to him get back the same kind of level of income, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
Then I say, why not we prepare ourselves towards that?
Yeah.
If that's going to happen, or if that doesn't happen, okay,
Yeah.
all good. But what if that happens?
Right.
Why would you want to, knowing that is a very real possibility, why would you want to take that chance?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So it's about being defensive in your portfolio also, right?
And also see at which stage of life. Let's say if your early 30s, I got retrenched, I'm very confident that I will get back same or even higher income. Right?
Yeah.
I've seen some of my friends that got retrenched and get a much higher pay the
Correct.
next one.
Yeah.
Then you're good.
Right.
But what if you're in your late 40s, early 50s? You're maybe 10 years away from retiring.
Yeah.
Then that's where someone like me will ask, and not a robot.
Yeah.
The AI will ask you that kind of question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. And I think also, you're absolutely right. The kinds of questions that some people may ask us, a professional may ask us, may not be the ones that we ask ourselves as well. Now is getting me really thinking about what I need to do for the next 20 years of my life. Jo, it has been a pleasure, deep diving these mistakes with you. Thanks very much. I think a lot of this advice is classic, but bears repeating over and over again in this podcast. So thank you.
Thank you, Andrea.
So for you listening and watching this, if you've got any comments or questions for myself or even Jo, you can always leave us a message. Money Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and Me Listen. You can rate us where you are listening or watching us. Credits to the team as always: Tiffany Ang, Nat Fetalvero, Junaini Johari, Joanne Chan, Hanida Amin, and Saya Wind. I'm Andrea Heng signing off for the Money Talks podcast.